With federal government targets for phasing out gasoline-powered engines in just a matter of years, electric vehicles are becoming the order of the day as an alternative. One North American company that has a very unique vehicle coming to market is Aptera. And joining me today from Vancouver is board member and strategic advisor Doug Liu.
Nice to meet you.
So, Doug, first off, I must say change is a little hard. What does your company see as the biggest hurdle for the public adoption of electric vehicles?
I think it's always about understanding and learning about what is newer and better. And in this case, sun is the power we're seeking. The benefit that we have, it is an energy form that has been around for quite a while by now. And it's something that we use to every day. So in this case, change should come a lot easier. It's natural.
That's good. I think that's one of the things that interested me when I saw your vehicle. And I thought, wow, this is a pretty special looking car. So could you tell us what sets Aptera vehicles apart from the EVs that we're maybe currently seeing on the road today?
Absolutely. So when we design Aptera, we have two goals in mind. One is about zero emission, which we will talk about later. The other one is about design efficiency. And design efficiency starts with reducing the drag, which is improving the performance, making the car as energy efficient as possible. So we spend hours and tireless effort through repeated engineering process to get to where we are. So from the shape, as you pointed out, is one of the most unique form of vehicle you see in the market. In fact, it resembles a little bit of a dolphin because it's one of the most energy efficient being on this planet. The other side is the zero emission, which is about not using any carbon emission or produce any carbon emission in the process. So you see that electric vehicles will still need to be charged, which inevitably, it will still create some form of carbon emission. In our case, is the sun.
So you mentioned the dolphins, and my wife and I used to live out on the West Coast. We always enjoyed getting out on the Zodiac and seeing the sea life. So is that where the vision for this vehicle came from, or the shape? Where did the vision come from?
The shape, certainly. It is, if you appreciate the engineering of the vehicle, you will see that it will have the minimum drag, which essentially, now I'm going to look at my notes here, as I'm not an engineer myself. Drag means the force of the airflow against the motion of the vehicle. In this case, and in the case of a dolphin, you can see how fast and how little friction it creates when it swims. So the same philosophy and the same idea applies to this vehicle.
So do you think that the old way of thinking in automobile manufacturing sector maybe held back innovation with vehicle concepts and fuel and design?
Well, we respect the innovations and the all the technology that were developed of our forefathers. However, as you mentioned earlier, change doesn't come overnight. It's an evolutionary process. So it's contributed by new ideas, but we often base it on the experience and past practices. So as a company, we challenge that. And then we use that experience and all the different, former practices and create a new technology or add on to what we have created uniquely to have developed this vehicle. So, I wouldn't say that they hinder the innovation of it, but they form part of the evolutionary process.
Right, and I guess one of the important evolutionary parts of technology for your vehicle would be how solar panels have advanced in their efficiency over the years. Can you tell us a little bit about using solar panels on this vehicle?
Oh, absolutely. So the entire vehicle is covered with different solar panels throughout the vehicle. And our solar technology is the different parts of the formula. So, in addition to the design, in addition to the battery capabilities, solar is another innovation that we created. So, we have these very small solar panel that we can adhere to different parts of the vehicle, and they are, in layman terms, bendable in different ways so that they will fit seamlessly into the design. So, and that's part of the signature. These solar panels are not hidden. They are, in fact, they form part of the look because we're proud of them.
That's very cool. It is. It seems very innovative to me to look and see how the panels shape with or go with the shape, the contour of the car. And you actually, there's a calculator on your website, and so it's very sunny here in southern Alberta, as I'm sure you know. And I plugged our digits kind of into your calculator, and it actually told me that I would never have to plug this car in.
Exactly. So you pointed out two wonderful things that we have developed. So obviously, the energy efficiency of the vehicle through its design and through our battery innovation or innovative technology. So the range starts at 250 miles in terms of chargeability, but it can go up to 1,000 miles. So every day in an average climate, you charge up to maybe 40 miles a day. So if you drive within that range, which most people do on a daily basis, you never have to charge. And the other thing is the calculator you mentioned. It's really cool. So it shows different parts of the world where you are. And then you can click on that location, and then you add your daily travel mileage, and then you can see how often you need to charge. In your case, never.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at the promotional information of your vehicle and to see just how efficient this has become. How would you compare the efficiency of the Aptera vehicle maybe with some of the traditional automaker EVs that we see right now?
Excellent question. So it's all about being better than the existing market, and we do. And it's not just technology alone, but it's a big part of what we do. So something I mentioned earlier, the drag coefficiency, we are one of the best in the market. So compared to other EVs, nameless, we are at least significant, double digit better in terms of drag coefficiency, which means we use less energy for the same distance. So we're pretty much the leader in the market in that sense. Obviously, on top of that, being solar is very different than being just pure electric.
Mm-hmm. Now, we spoke recently with an EV motorcycle manufacturer who lives just south of Calgary. He said that his bikes actually work better in colder temperatures. Do you have plans for cold weather testing of this vehicle?
Oh, absolutely. So when we test our vehicles, we cater to all markets. The thing about this sort of innovation, meaning in the environmental space, the way to achieve our overall mission is to maximize the usability in different parts of the world. So we're designed with that in mind. Our vehicle would work in different sort of climate, whether it is over 100 degrees Celsius or minus 20, 30 degree Celsius as well. Sorry, 100 degree Fahrenheit. So minus 20, 30 degrees as well. So it is designed with very harsh climate in mind.
Wow. And so how long has this vehicle been in the planning and, let's say, research and development phases?
Oh, it's been a very, very long journey for the founders. So the vehicle was first conceptualized almost a decade ago. And throughout that process, we have lots of renditions and the trial and tribulations of any startups. But this time we launched only about 2 years ago, and to amazing fanfare. I believe right now, and don't quote me on the latest number, but we have over 30,000 vehicles in terms of pre-ordered. So that's over $1 billion of pre-ordering. So the last 2 years have been a big journey for us in terms of market reception, in terms of the energy development of the innovation side of it in terms of the different partnership on the commercialization of the vehicle. So yeah, it's been a very, very exciting journey for the last 2 years. We cannot wait for it to see what happens in the next couple.
Well, it sounds amazing, even with the decade of from concept to where we are right now. Can you share with us some of the innovations and research and development that went into the project?
Yes, absolutely. So three key things, as I mentioned earlier, are the design itself. So the overall very unique um, uh, design, which is with very little drag coefficiency. So that's one major part of the innovation, but also the materials that we use. So it's a very lightweight carbon fiber, and it's going to be manufactured in actually a very exciting partnership with one of the most prestigious suppliers on the planet, which I'm not privy to say at the moment. But that is another innovation that we have developed. On top of that, obviously, the battery. It's very lightweight. It's a fraction of what you see in the market, and that allows us to drive further with less energy. Last but not least, obviously, it'd be the solar panel itself. So we have different teams dealing with battery, dealing with solar, and dealing with design. So each of them have multiple innovations regularly, and we continue to enhance it.
So I'm guessing along with the different teams and the research and development, and of course we can never forget the engineering, there must be some very high quality parts that go into this. So do you see that the use of, going forward into the future, would you see that maybe the use of higher quality components, would they be coming from Asia or would they be coming from Europe or right here in North America?
Currently, the production itself is in North America. So I would say the bulk of the manufacturing, the design, and the research. In fact, we have a research team also right there in Alberta as well. So we're in discussion with the different government agencies about how they can support us in terms of furthering the research and development. And I think that's very important. So Canada, having a huge talent pool, having great, a market in terms of our interest, our passion, our understanding of the energy efficiency. I think this is a great market that we can spend more resource in developing and upping our game.
Right. So do you think that your company and this technology that surrounds it is opening the door to more specialized, maybe R&D or manufacturing in the United States and Canada?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. So definitely in the US, we're doing a lot of the manufacturing already. So it is already realized. But in Canada, we do have, as I mentioned, a research facility, and we would like to expand on that when we get the resource to do it. And I believe, being a Canadian myself, I would love to take this ability to create, to innovate, and make Canada a much more or even more technologically advanced leader in this innovation and the sustainable energy world.
Yeah, we like the sound of that. And Canada has so many talented artisans and engineers and manufacturers. So we love to see that progress down the road with new technology. I wanted to ask you, has your company projected a lifespan and replacement program for your vehicle's batteries?
We do. I think that's still about to be developed. But right now, I think it would be a extended period of time. So I can't say the latest number as we continue to enhance that. But it would be a very long time before one has to replace the battery. So that in that regard, we won't be that different from the other EVs, and if not better.
Right. So who is your target demographic for this vehicle?
Again, excellent question. So one would think, with a new design, a new product, very unique sort of proposition will only attract a smaller, more of a niche market. But based on the pre-ordering from different nations, generation, background of people, we see that this actually catered to a much wider audience. So obviously, those who are environmentally conscious, those who are really interested in new engineering design would be the what we call first adopter. But we start seeing that the word spreads. We see anyone who has to drive a vehicle every day, from running errands to supermarket, to taking the kids to school, or just going on a road trip, could be using our vehicle. And not to mention the price of gas. So I think there is a huge market for using this. And also it could be a second vehicle too. So there will be people who have the primary vehicle and use this for other purposes. So yeah, I think the market is big.
Well, it's very exciting. I know we're looking forward to seeing the vehicles out on the road and even having some here in Canada. So unfortunately, Doug, this is all the time we have for today. I'd love to keep chatting with you, but I want to thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
That was Doug Liu, board member and strategic advisor for Aptera Motors. He joined us from his office in Vancouver.